Good morning, students. Welcome back. So today we are planning to start with a new topic that is about government grants. Okay. So I'll just share the presentation. Okay, so if you look at the accounting standard, this is AS12, which deals with the accounting related to government grants. Now, in relation to government grants, there are different categories on the basis of which its accounting will vary. But first of all, let's try to understand the meaning of government grant. Means, what is it that you'll call as government grant? Government grant, you can say, is a kind of contribution, okay, which is provided by the government. Now, this government contribution could be in the form of monetary benefit or non-monetary benefit. Monetary means money. Non-monetary could be any asset which is provided by the government. Now, what comprises of government? First of all, to begin with. So, government refers to government agencies, okay, similar bodies like local, national, international bodies, right? And any kind of support which they provide, be it in the form of subsidies, cash incentives, duty drawbacks, all of them will fall within the purview of government grant. Okay. Now, in relation to government grant, there is always a feature of the grant. What is that? Government will always provide a grant subject to certain conditions. Okay, so that means entity will always be required to fulfill some criteria. There are some conditions which will always be attached to that. Okay, without the conditions, okay, you can say any unconditional grant is not provided by the government. Therefore, when it comes to the recognition criteria, we need to look at two criteria. First, entity should be reasonably assured that it will comply with the conditions attached, and entity is also reasonably assured that the grant will be received. Means eventually the grant which has to be provided, that will be received by the entity. So only and only when both the criteria are fulfilled, okay, both of these, government grant can be recognized, otherwise no. Okay, generally there is a practice. What is the practice? That the moment the grant is received, that is when the grant will be recognized, and in case the grant is not received, it will not be recognized. So if you do that, what do you call it as? Cash basis. And we have already talked about it, that cash basis of accounting is not permissible, right? So here again, entity needs to look at the accrual principle, right? But when do you accrue the government grant? When two conditions are fulfilled. One, entity is clear that it will be able to comply with the conditions. Okay, so conditions are being complied with, but over a period of time it will be complied with, plus grant will also be received. Okay, so this is what you understand in this part of the criteria which is available for recognition of government. Now, as we discussed, grant could be of two types. One, of course, is about the money. For example, government provides some assistance. Government says, I'll give you rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, subject to some conditions. Or the government may provide land at a very nominal value. Yes or no? So in both these cases, let's try to pick up some small examples. Just a minute, just make those examples. All right, so if we look at this example, X Limited applies for a grant from the local authority towards a social cause. Okay. X Limited is required to meet certain conditions to be eligible for the receipt of grant. There is a reasonable assurance that X will receive the grant in time. However, after having applied for the grant, there is a likelihood X may not be able to meet all the conditions attached to the grant. In this case, what will the company do? X Limited should not recognize the grant in its course until there is a reasonable assurance it would be able to meet all the conditions. Clear? Clear? All right. Another example. X convent wishes to open a school in locality A. It applies to the state authority for the grant of land. State authority grants the land for construction of the school, right? Market value of the land is 20 crore, whereas authority has provided land at a very nominal cost. What is that? 50 lakhs. Okay. So it's like available at a very nominal cost. Correct? State authority requires that free education. Now there is a condition. Okay, please remember, every time there is a grant, there will always be a condition. Okay, so now what is the condition? State authority requires free education must be provided to the poor children by way of reserving 20% of the seats in the school for such children. Now, in this case, it is reasonably assured, okay, X is clear that it will be able to comply with this condition. In this case, first of all, we look at the recognition criteria. Yeah, criteria is fulfilled. So that is when X can recognize the grant. What is that? Land. But now the question arises, at what value this land should be recognized? Should it be recognized at the market value, which is 20 crore, or the amount which is required to be paid to the government? Only 50 lakhs. So it will be nominal value, means 50 lakhs. Will not be recording this at market value. Okay, so whenever there is a non-monetary grant, such a non-monetary grant is required to be recorded at the nominal value. Clear? Everyone clear so far? Any questions so far? Quickly. Any questions, any doubts so far? Over to you quickly. Okay, great. Soumya, Rohan, I think Prem, everybody is clear. Great. Now, see about the about this non-monetary grant, we have just discussed as to how do you record it. Now, in respect of monetary grants, there are certain categories which are provided by the standard. Depending on the category of the grant, it is required to be recorded. Means, depending on the type of the grant it is, its accounting will be done. Okay. So that's why what we will do is, we'll pick up all of these categories one by one. Okay. And accordingly, we'll look into its accounting. Okay. So first, Let's pick up the grants which are related to assets. Okay, so the grants which are related to assets. So standard says there could be grant related to assets. So this is the first category in a way, right? Now, what is the meaning of grant related to assets? Let's try to understand. Say government has a scheme that if an entity sets up a plant in a backward region, then the government will contribute towards the cost of the infrastructure. Okay, let's suppose 40% of the cost will be paid by the government, right? In this case, why is the grant provided? Can you tell me why is the grant provided? Over to you. In this case, for the asset, correct? For setting up of plant. That's what Ishan says. So therefore, it will be called as a grant related to asset. Clear? Clear? Right? Now, in case of grant related to asset, let's understand as to how the accounting will be done. So one is gross basis. Second is net basis. Now, what is the meaning of this? Let's suppose setting up of plant will require 100 crore. Okay. And the government has provided a grant, say 40 crore. Now, in case the entity is following gross basis of accounting, so what will it do? It will record the grant as a deferred income. So now, what is going to be the accounting entry on day one? Bank debit 40 to government grant. Okay. Bank debit to government grant 40. Right? In this case, what do you do? In this case, this grant will be treated as a deferred income. Right? Now, in this case, let's suppose useful life of the plant says 20 years. So at the year end, what do you do? There will be a depreciation, right? There will be a depreciation. So can you tell me what is going to be the depreciation on plant? What will be the depreciation on the plant? Can you tell me quickly? So what is going to be the amount of depreciation? Over to you quickly. Ron says it will be 5 crore, right? It will be 5 crore. So now what is going to be the accounting entry? Depreciation debit, which is 100 divided by 20 to accumulated depreciation, or we can say to plant. Yes or no? Yeah. Further, at the year end, what do we need to do? This government grant which was received, this will be treated as deferred income. You can say it's a kind of liability. It will be treated as if it's a kind of liability. Okay? So in the balance sheet, it will be recorded as a liability. Yeah. So now this will have to be amortized over the life of the asset. So therefore, what is going to be the accounting entry? We can say deferred income with government grant. Okay, so this we will debit. Just change this on. To government grant income. And if you amortize 40 crore over 20 years, so what do you get? 2 crore. 2 crore, correct? Yeah. So in the P&L, in the first year, there will be a charge of depreciation and there will be an income. So year on year, this is what you do in case gross accounting is followed, right? So in case gross accounting is followed. Okay, clear on this? Yeah. Now, let's suppose entity follows net basis of accounting. In case net basis of accounting is followed, then what do you do? On day one, okay, let me just put it over here. On day one, instead of crediting deferred income, what do we credit? Asset. Means we will reduce the value of the asset by the amount of the grant. We will reduce the grant amount from the value of the asset. Now, what is the reduced value of the asset? What is the revised value of the asset? Can you tell me? What is the revised value? 60 crore? Yes or no? 60 crore? Its life is same. Its life is same. Okay. Its life is same. So therefore, year on year, what will happen? There will be a depreciation charge of 3 crore. Do we have any deferred income which needs to be amortized? No. Now, in this case, if you look at the P&L impact, what is that? What is the P&L impact in this case? 3 crore. Yes or no? What is the P&L impact? 3 crore. Right? If you follow gross basis, then what is the P&L impact? 5 crore will go to a charge, 2 crore will go to income. On a net basis, P&L impact is same. Yes or no? On a net basis, P&L impact remains same. Is there any change in the P&L impact? No. No. So whether you follow gross basis or you follow net basis, in both the cases, P&L impact will remain the same. Okay. Clear? Now, in case entity follows a net basis, so the question arises that how is the grant getting recorded? Or how is this grant income getting recorded? Because in case of gross basis, you can see this grant income. But in case of net basis, do you see the grant income? Tell me, in case of net basis, do you see the grant income? Soumya says no. Devu says no. No, you can see that. Let's try to understand. How do you see that? You can see the grant income in the form of reduced depreciation charge. So the depreciation charge has gone down from 5 to 3 in case of net basis. So your grant income is getting recorded in the form of reduced depreciation charge. Clear? Clear on this? Yeah? Clear? All right. Any questions on this? Any questions if you have, please tell me quickly. Any questions, any doubts if you have? Over to you. Priyanshi is asking, sir, no need to write. Priyanshi, I'm not clear on your query. What's your query? Can you please pick up? Don't understand. I think Nidhi has a query. Nidhi, Priyanshi, if you can just please pick up, explain your queries. Yes, Priyanshi.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Priyanshi.
Sir, so it means in net basis, we don't need to write any, means we don't need to show the government grant income account, right?
You can't do that because unlike in case of gross basis wherein you had this deferred income which was getting amortized,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
you don't have anything. So how can you show that? You don't have
Yes,
that. Nothing to
yes, yes,
amortize,
yes, exactly.
right?
So it will be by default settling off, right?
So it's like it's there, it's included over here in the
Yes, sir.
form of reduced depreciation. So you can't say it's not there. It's included in this 3 crore. Included means it has reduced the amount of depreciation.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, the depreciation should have been 5 crore, but now it's 3 crore.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so that's how it's getting recorded.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
sure. Nidhi, I understand your query must have got resolved by now, but if you still have any query, please pick up fast. Over to you. Nidhi, you're there? Done? All right, great. So now what we will do is we'll look at some questions which you need to answer. Huh? Okay, so we'll pick up some examples. All right, so based on these concepts, so there are few questions we'll pick up. Okay, and in these questions, you need to just answer this completely, huh? Okay, so that's very, very important for you. Z Limited purchased a fixed asset for 50 lakhs, which has estimated useful life of 5 years, salvage value of 5 lakhs. Okay. On purchase of the assets, government gave a grant of rupees 10 lakhs. You are required to pass the journal entries in the books of the company for the first 2 years if the grant amount is deducted from the value of the fixed asset. Now, in most of the questions, what I've seen is answer is given in the question itself. If you understand this concept, okay, if let's suppose you will have this question in the exam, so the question is itself answering you. It is saying grant amount is deducted from the value of the fixed asset. So if this is told to you, is there anything left? No, because you understand. Yeah, solution is available in the question itself. So can you please quickly tell me the accounting entries with the amount that will have to be passed? Who will answer this? Over to you. You need to speak up, explain accounting entries. Who will answer this? Over to you quickly. Who would answer this? Anyone who can discuss these accounting entries one by one? In any case, you need to answer. Yeah, in the chat box, I'm just waiting. So, what are the accounting entries you'll pass for the first 2 years? Over to you quickly. Charandeep says net basis. No, net basis is fine. So, Charandeep, either you can just explain. Okay, so I can see Ishan has shared the accounting entries. Okay, very good. For the first 2 years, or is it only for the first year? Okay, I think Rohan will explain. Very good, Rohan. Please go ahead. Yes, Rohan, please go ahead. Yes, Rohan.
Sir, in the uh, first year, the purchase entry will be made fixed asset to bank,
Fixed
where
asset
the
to bank.
amount will be 50 lakhs, where
Okay.
the amount of purchase will be 50 lakhs minus 10 lakhs.
No, so when you purchase the fixed asset, so you'll record the fixed asset at 50 lakh, correct? Yes. Rohan, you're not
Sir,
audible.
it
Yes.
is, but it is written to deduct.
Sorry.
Sir, but it is written to deduct the amount.
Yes, of course, but you need to
Sir, the
show that
question
separately.
specifies that the grant amount.
But you need to show that separately. That's the point. Huh? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
second
So now,
entry would be
yes.
of depreciation.
No, no. So first of all, you need to move on to the second entry for the reduction in the value of the asset. So what is going to be the second entry?
Okay.
Now you are
Bank
receiving
to
grant
fixed
from the
assets account.
government. So bank you need to debit or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you skip this entry
Yes,
in the exam, you lose out on marks. Okay. Please remember. So bank debit to fixed asset. So this is how the value of the asset has got reduced now. Clear? Okay. Now what is going to be the third entry?
yes, sir. Sir, depreciation.
Okay. So tell me what is going to be the entry. Tell me the entry with amount.
Sir, depreciation to fixed asset account. Depreciation 9 lakh.
No,
50
so what
lakh
is going to be
minus
the
5
amount of
lakh divided by
depreciation?
5.
Okay. So what will be the amount of depreciation?
9 lakh.
9 lakh. How do you compute 9 lakh?
9 lakh.
No, how do you compute 9 lakh?
50 lakh minus 5 lakh divided by.
But that's incorrect. Why? Because the value of the asset is not 50 lakhs. You have already reduced the value of the asset, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what is the value of
40
your
lakh
asset?
minus 5 lakh divided by 5.
Yes. So what is going to be the amount of depreciation? It will be
40
7
lakh.
lakhs. 7
7
lakhs.
lakh.
Depreciation is not 40. Depreciation will be 7 lakhs. Okay. And this depreciation, then you will move to P&L also. Right? Clear? Okay. Now, can you tell me the accounting entry for
Yes, sir.
second year? So this is what you do in the first year. Now, what is going to be your accounting entry in the second year?
Sir, only depreciation.
So tell me the entries. Huh? Tell me the
Depreciation to
accounting
fixed
entry.
asset account.
Okay. Amount. Amount also you need to tell me. Huh?
Sir, 7 lakh.
7 lakh. Okay. Why 7 lakh now? Can you tell
Sir,
me how
every
are you
year
getting?
it will be 7.
Yes, because it's SLM. So that's why every year it will be 7 lakh. And this 7 lakh you need to transfer to P&L also. Okay, because the study requires you to
Yes.
transfer to P&L. So the same thing you should do in exam also. Otherwise, there again, you will lose marks. Okay, clear? Right? Very good. Now,
Yes, sir.
any questions, any doubts? If you have, though I can see a lot of responses coming
Sir,
from your side. Yes, Rohan.
uh,
I think Ishan has a query. Yes, Ishan, what's your query? Please go ahead. Yes, Ishan.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I want to ask, if this is grant for the newly purchased asset.
Right,
If the grant is received for an already purchased asset,
right.
then we will reduce the grant from the date it is received, no?
Yes, of course.
The depreciation will be accordingly reduced.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, sir.
But in all of your questions, you will see the grant coming up at the beginning itself.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, so midway you will not be getting any question.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any more questions? If you have anyone else, any more questions on this? I'm just hoping everyone is clear. Okay, great. I think Tanisha is sharing the accounting entries. Very good. Anil, Nidhi, they have also shared, right? Right? Yes, Jayendra, what's your query? Please pick up. Yes, Jayendra, what's your query? Jayendra, please pick up fast.
Why SLM method?
Sorry.
WDBB. In this case, why SLM method is follow?
See, in this case, if you look at the requirement of the question, if you go back, okay, so question has not specified anything. That's one. So in that case, what do you do? You'll have to follow either of the methods, SLM or WDV. Yeah, so either you give the assumption, and better is to give the assumption which will make your life simple, isn't it? Yeah, so if you follow SLM, so your calculation will be easier. So that's why you'll go with this. Otherwise, there's no rule you need to follow this method. Either of these methods you can follow. Fine.
Yes.
Then I think Priyanshi has a query. Yes, Priyanshi. Yes, Priyanshi, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. In this question, I wanted to ask that if we have to prepare for complete 5 years, right? Then the
Right.
depreciation and transferring the depreciation in PNL will be the same entry for the continued 5 years of rupees 7 lakh only.
Correct.
Then, sir, what will we do for the remaining 5 lakhs of this salvage value at the end? Five.
Nothing. Nothing.
Sorry.
It will appear in the balance sheet. That's it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if the question says after 5 years it's sold at some value, then of course you will pass the entry for sale. Otherwise, you will do nothing about it. It will remain in the books.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Right. Then I understand Nidhi has a query. Yes, Nidhi, please pick up. Okay. In the meantime, Rohan has a query. Yes, Rohan, please pick up.
sir, here in the entry of grant receipt, we have passed the entry of bank to fixed asset account. Sir, why
Sorry.
not? Sir, in the entry of grant received,
Right.
sir, why we have not passed the entry bank to government grant
Bank to government grant.
by treating it as deferred liability? Means why we have not treated it as deferred liability?
Do you remember we discussed there are two methods of recording government grant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now if the entity follows either of the methods, that's the choice of the entity. That's one. In case of net basis, what should the company do? Reduce the value of the asset. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So if you argue that no, even in the net basis, company should not reduce the value. Company should record deferred income. So in such a case, will there be a difference between gross basis or net basis?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So in such a case, what will happen? Two options will not be there. So it will only be one option. Yeah. So in this case, it's the net basis. Secondly, question has specified very clearly. Yeah? So if you read the question carefully, it has specified very clearly. That's why you are doing this. Clear? See, your
Yes.
query would have been relevant if the question was silent on this. So you could have asked, sir, why did we follow gross approach? Why not net approach? Or why did we follow net approach? Why not gross approach? If the question is, when the question is very clearly telling you, then what's the point of this? Okay, then you have to follow the instructions of the question. Okay. So in the exam, please remember whatever the question will ask you, you'll have to follow that. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Then I think Nidhi has a query. Nidhi, waiting for your query. If you can just explain, or you are done. Nidhi, you're through. All right. So let's move on
गुड
to
मॉर्निंग सर.
good morning.
सर ये 7 लाख कैसे आया है और
Sorry, your voice is not clear.
सर 7 लाख कैसे कैलकुलेट हुआ है, थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे.
7 lakh calculate हुआ है. For example, what is the value of the asset that you have?
सर 50 लाख.
50 lakh. And if you reduce the value of asset by 10 lakh, then what is the value of the asset?
40 लाख.
From the 40 lakh, if you have to calculate depreciation, so how do you calculate depreciation? Tell me.
सर इनटू यूजफुल लाइफ.
Into useful life means what?
सर रिमेनिंग अमाउंट इनटू
What is the
यूजफुल
meaning
लाइफ.
of into? So how do you calculate
सर
depreciation? From the value of the asset, you reduce salvage value? Yes or no?
यस सर.
Yeah. So if you reduce salvage value, what do you get? 35 lakhs?
यस सर.
And 35 lakhs, you will divide by useful life. There's no into. I think you need to revisit the calculation of depreciation as per AS 10. So if you divide 35 by 5, what do you get?
7 लाख.
7 lakhs. Understood?
यस
Yeah.
सर.
But I would suggest,
सर एक और.
yeah, but there's one important point for you. Please revisit AS 10.
डन सर.
Okay, that's a very important accounting standard. Yes, please go ahead.
सर माय क्वेश्चन इज कि जो नेट और नेट बेसिस और ग्रॉस बेसिस है उसमें दोनों में माइनर डिफरेंस, मतलब क्वेश्चन के अकॉर्डिंग हमें कैलकुलेट करके देखना पड़ेगा कि वो क्वेश्चन क्या कह रहा है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग हमें वो मेथड फॉलो करना पड़ेगा.
Yes, of course.
थैंक यू
Okay,
सर.
right. Any more questions, Nidhi?
नो सर, थैंक यू सर.
All right, great. Okay, so then I can see one query. I think Janvi has a query. Yes, Janvi, please go ahead. Yes, Janvi. What's your query? Can you please explain? Janvi, over to you. Are you through? All right, so then I think we can move on to next question. Okay. Now, Z Limited purchased a fixed asset for 50 lakhs. It has estimated useful life of 5 years. Salvage value is 5 lakhs. I think similar sort of information is available. On purchase of this asset, government gave a grant of 10 lakhs. Again, the similar sort of thing. It appears to be repetition. Pass the necessary journal entries in the books of the company for the first 2 years again. If the grant is treated as deferred income. Oh, so here again, what has happened? Question is again giving you the solution. Now, who will answer this? Tell me quickly. Who would like to explain this? Over to you. Great. I think Priyanshi will do this. Very good. Yes, Priyanshi.
Yes, sir. In
Yes.
this question, the question is similar to before question. What do we say? The method is changed. This is
Right.
we will do with the gross method.
Very good.
So first we will record the first entry, that is fixed asset to bank, which is of 50 lakh rupees.
Okay.
Then we will not reduce the 10 lakh rupees.
Right.
So the value of the asset will be 5 lakhs. We will reduce it by salvage value, right?
Right.
Excuse me. Then the first year depreciation will be rupees 9 lakhs, which is 45 lakhs divided by 5 years.
Very good.
And we will transfer it in the PNL, which will be PNL to depreciation of 9
No,
lakh
but
rupees.
before that, there's one more point. So when you purchase the asset, you also receive the government grant. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. 10 lakh.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
10 lakh. So at the beginning of the year, so depreciation you will pass at the end of the year. First
Hmm.
of all, you need to remember that there's a flow you'll have to follow.
Yes, sir.
So now at the beginning of the year, when you receive the government grant, so that accounting entry you have to pass.
Yes, sir. Bank to government
Bank
grant.
to bank to deferred government grant account or deferred income, whichever nomenclature you want to use, you can use.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
This will
better to use the nomenclature which is given in the study.
Yes, sir. This will
Okay,
be our liability, and we will reduce this year by year uh, for remaining 5 years, which will be 2 lakhs per year.
correct. So now what are going to be the accounting entries for depreciation and government grant income year on year?
So the first year entry will be depreciation to plant,
Okay,
which will be 9 lakhs. Then we will
right,
transfer the depreciation, which will be PNL to depreciation, which will be
very
9
good,
lakh rupees.
right,
And we will reduce the liability by deferred government grant account
right,
to profit and loss account, which will be 2 lakh rupees.
correct. That's correct. Okay, and every time, everyone, please remember, please don't forget to write the narration because narration will have marks. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now moving on. Now, what is next, Priyanshi?
So next we will repeat these entries for the remaining 5 years.
Correct. So now, because the question requires you to record this only up to year two, so that's why I'll have to just do copy paste. In the exam, by chance you can't do copy paste, so you'll have to write it over again. Yes or no? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
in the second year, you will have the similar set of accounting entries. One for depreciation, second for transferring the depreciation to P&L, and third for booking the government grant income. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Good, Priyanshi.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Anyone else who has got any queries on this? Are you clear on this? Yes, Pawan. I can see Anil has answered this. He has shared the accounting entries. Very good, Anil. Yes, Pawan, what's your query?
मुझे सर पी एंड एल कैसे आ गया है सर प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस डेप्रिसिएशन अकाउंट
See, that's the transfer entry you have. Okay, so this depreciation, you will take it to the P&L or not? Tell me,
यस
Pawan.
सर यस सर यस सर
Yeah, so in this case, it is only giving you the transfer entry. Okay, so when you take it to P&L, so that accounting entry is being shown.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
right. Any more questions, Pawan?
No, sir. No, sir. Thank
Right.
you, sir.
Anyone else? Sure, sure. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any more questions on this? Nidhi, please go ahead. What's your query? Nidhi, please speak up. What's your query? Please explain your query.
सर गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट को 2 लाख कैसे हम मतलब शो कर रहे हैं, वैसे तो उसका 40 लाख आना चाहिए डिफरेंसेस हम लोग जो
उसका 40 lakhs क्यों आना चाहिए? Why do you think it should be 40?
तो जो ग्रांट मिला है और जो फिक्स एसेट है उसका डिफरेंसेस ही तो हमारा मतलब होता है ना डेफर्ड इनकम।
Sorry, your voice is not clear, Nidhi. Please speak clearly. Huh? So what is the amount
सर
of
अभी
government grant?
सर 10 लाख है ना
10 lakh है. So why should it become 40 lakhs?
सर 50 माइनस 10 करेंगे तो 40 लाख आएगा।
So ऐसे तो 50 minus 2 करोगे तो 48 भी आएगा. So there are a lot of calculations you can do, isn't it?
यस सर।
When the question has clarified the grant is 10 lakhs, how can you change the amount of government grant? Can we change the amount of government grant? Tell me.
नो सर।
So if the question has very clearly given this, that government has given a grant of 10 lakhs, so why do you want to change it?
तो सर माय
Okay,
क्वेश्चन इज 2 लाख कैसे कैलकुलेट हुआ है, मुझे ये
2
नहीं
lakhs
समझ
is
आया।
because you received this government grant of 10 lakh. So you will not
यस
record
सर।
this immediately in the P&L. Over the life of the fixed asset, you will record. So if you amortize it over the life of the asset, so can you tell me what will be the amount each year? Nidhi, if you can
सर
just
2 लाख
calculate.
10 लाख
Sorry.
10 लाख डिवाइड बाय 5 एवरी ईयर इज 2 लाख।
Yes. So that is how 2 lakh has been computed, and that is how 2 lakh
यस
is
सर।
getting recorded each year in the P&L. Okay.
मतलब सर ये है कि अगर हम डायरेक्ट एक साथ ग्रांट को पीएनएल में शो नहीं कर सकते हैं, इसलिए एवरी ईयर के अकॉर्डिंग हम उसे पर ईयर शो करेंगे
Yes, that's
डेफर्ड
correct.
इनकम।
Yes,
थैंक यू
absolutely
सर।
yes. Okay. Now one more point, because that is what I have observed on the basis of some of the queries that I have been receiving. See, every time you have a doubt in your mind, which is contradictory to what the question requires. Okay, every time you are thinking that why the net basis should be done, why gross basis should not be done. Okay, for example, why the grant is not 40. Now, please remember, in the exam, there has to be a question. Yes or no? And please remember, you are going to the exam to answer that question. That's how you are being tested. Okay. So therefore, you'll have to follow the fact pattern which is there in the question. You can't change the fact pattern of the question. Clear? So please read the question carefully and please restrict yourself to what the question requires. Please don't try to go beyond what the question requires. If you try to do that, then of course there is going to be a confusion. Okay. So to avoid any sort of confusion, please remember that you need to limit yourself to what is asked in the question. That's how you will be saving your time. That's how you will be very specific while answering the question. Okay. And that's how I think you will also be removing any sort of confusion which is there. Okay. Yeah. So just try to follow this in the following questions that we are going to discuss today. Okay. Now, moving further, Let's talk about another type of grant, which is called as grant related to income. So at the first place, we discuss the grant which is related to asset, right? This is also very commonly called as capital grant. Grant related to asset or capital grant. Now, there is another type of grant. What is that? Grant related to income, or you can say revenue grant. Okay, now for this grant related to income or the revenue grant, here again, there are two options. Okay, similar to the two options that you had for capital grant, you have two options for revenue grant. Okay, now what are those two options? One, it can be taken to other income. So when you record it, how do you record it? You can take it to other income, or you can reduce the amount of grant from the expenditure. Okay, here again, let's suppose if you talk about a revenue grant, now question may arise, but sir, what is the revenue grant? How is it different from asset grant? See, any grant that you receive which is not in relation to asset. For example, say government has a scheme. What is the scheme? If the entity will recruit, say 100 new employees over the next 3 years, then the government will pay a grant of rupees 50 lakhs. Now, is it related to any asset? Answer is no. Is there any underlying asset involved here? Answer is no. Okay. So can you call it as grant related to asset? Answer is no. So what do you call it as? Grant related to income or the revenue grant. Okay. In this case, what is going to be the accounting entry on day one? When you receive grant from the government, so what is the accounting entry you will pass? Bank debit 10 lakhs, sorry, 50 lakhs to deferred. Here again, you will recognize deferred income. Straight away, it will not go to P&L. Okay, now, at the year end, year one end, now the question arises, what will become the basis for recognition of government grant income? Now, unlike in case of asset related grant, we do not have the life of the asset. Okay, so do you have the useful life of the asset? Answer is no. So how will you amortize it? What will become the basis for amortization? So in this case, we will amortize it over the period entity is required to comply with the conditions. Every time there will be some conditions attached. Okay. So now over the period, entity will be able to comply with the conditions. So that period will pick up for amortization of deferred income. So in this case, what is that period? Entity is required to recruit new employees over next 3 years. Okay, so that's why, how do you amortize it? So you'll say deferred income debit to government grant income, and you amortize it over 3 years. Right. So in this case, how do you amortize it over 3 years? Yeah. So this becomes your liability, which will go to balance sheet, and this is your P&L impact, which goes to P&L as other income. Now this government grant of 16.67 lakhs. Where do you show this in the P&L? Other income. In case you are following this second approach, second method, then this 16.67 lakhs, instead of taking it to other income, what do? You will reduce this from the employee cost. Why? Because it pertains to the employee cost. Okay. So reduction from the expenses means from the relevant expense. So you can't just reduce this from any expense. You can't reduce it from costs. You can't reduce it from depreciation. You can't reduce it from printing and stationery expense. So the relevant expenditure which will be there. From that expense, you will reduce the grant income. Okay. So both the methods are there. Either of these methods can be followed by the entity. Clear? Everyone clear on this? Quickly, everyone clear on this? Over to you. Everyone clear? Simple again? Yeah? Tanu is clear, good. I think Soumya is also clear, great. Devu is clear, very good. Alright, so now, here again, we will pick up a few examples, right? Okay, so let's look at this question. X Limited runs a charitable hospital. Okay, it incurs salary of doctors, staff, etc. to the extent of 30 lakhs per annum. So that's the cost, right? As a support, local government grants a lump sum payment of 90 lakhs to meet the salary expenses for a period of next 5 years. You are required to pass the journal entries in the books of the company for the first year. Only for the first year. And also present in the statement of profit and loss when the grant is shown separately as other income. Now here again, please understand. Now this is the third question we are doing today. Yes or no? Here again, the question has given you the solution. Question itself is telling you how to present it. So are you left with anything? Yeah. Okay. So now, who will answer this? Accounting entries, of course. How do you present this in the P&L? Who will answer this? Over to you quickly. Yes. Devu is saying year one. Yes, of course. It's only for year one. That's what the question requires. So you'll have to restrict yourself to the question. Okay, quickly. What are going to be the accounting entries in this case? Over to you. Okay, then I think it's Smriti. Yes, you will explain.
Hello, sir.
Yes, you will explain this.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Please go ahead.
Sir, first receipt entry. So, bank account debit to government grant as deferred income for 90 lakhs.
Right.
And then for the first case, we have to defer it for a period of 5 years.
Right.
So, per year, 18 lakhs. So,
Very good.
deferred income, that is government grant account debit to
Yes.
Government grant income 18 lakhs, which will be
Okay,
taken to other income
that's
in
correct.
P&L.
Right.
But in the second case, receipt
No,
entry
second
and
case,
safety.
we'll move on to the second case slightly later. So just please hold on. Now there's one more point in this case.
Yes, sir.
If you look at the question, it says entity has incurred salary cost. Now there's one hidden point over here. So generally, what is our tendency? The moment we get to know that it's a question related to government grant. So as you rightly answered, you will only be looking at the accounting entries of government grant. Okay, so your accounting entries are absolutely correct. But the question is also requiring something else, or you
To
can say
record
something
the.
more. Yeah, so this cost will have to be recorded or not, because
Yes,
you are
sir.
required to pass the entries in the books of the company. So the question doesn't say pass the entries only in respect of government grant. Okay, please remember, if the question says that pass the entries only for government grant, then you will share only two accounting entries. Now, for every transaction which is there, you'll have to pass the accounting entry. So
Yes, sir.
therefore, the salary expense, this also needs to be recorded by the entity,
Yes, sir.
correct? So this
Yes.
accounting entry will also be answered in the question, in the solution, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you do this, then if you go to the extract of the P&L, in the P&L, there will be two parts to it. One, you will show other income as 18 lakhs.
Yes.
Okay. And the other part will be the expense side, which is on employee cost. Okay. Now, let's move on to the second case scenario. Instead of recording it as other income, let's suppose if you deduct this from the salary cost, then how will your accounting entries change, Smriti? Over to you again.
Uh, Sir, then salary account debit to bank 12 lakhs.
Salary account debit to bank 12 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how do you compute this 12 lakh?
Sir, we are receiving 18 lakhs as we are deferring it, so we will deduct from 30, 18.
Yes, very good. So now instead of recording the salary cost as 30, what can the entity do? It can record it on net basis, 12.
Yes.
Or you can also pass two accounting entries. Okay, it's again up to you.
Mm.
Okay, so you can also pass two accounting entries. First, you can record salary expense as 30.
Uh,
Second, you can then
Deduct
reduce the
it.
salary expense by 18 lakhs. In which case you'll say deferred income debit 18 lakhs to salary
To
expense
salary.
18 lakhs. Okay. So either of these approaches I would say will be absolutely correct. Okay. Now, when it comes to the P&L extract in this case, so what will happen? Now in the P&L abstract, in the second case scenario, can you show this as other income? No.
No, sir.
Now the only presentation criteria that you'll have to show will be this second one. Okay. So total salary cost is 30 lakhs, from which we have adjusted the government grant income for the year. Thereby, salary cost has got reduced to 12 lakhs.
12 lakhs.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Very good, Smriti.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. All right. Anyone who has got any questions on this? Quickly, any questions if you have on this? I think Tanisha has also shared the accounting entries. Very good. Yes. Any questions, any doubts that you may have? This over to you. No question? Sure. Everyone clear so far? Then we'll move further. Please confirm. Everyone clear so far? Okay, great. I think everyone is clear. Tanisha is clear on this. All right. Rohan has also confirmed. Tanu is clear. All right. So now let's move on to another type of grant. Okay. So there are three types of grants we have discussed. One is non-monetary, and then under monetary we have discussed grant related to asset, grant related to income. Now there is another type of grant which is called as grant which is in the nature of promoter's contribution. Grant which is in the nature of promoter's contribution. Okay, now what is that grant which is in the nature of promoter's contribution? See, if the grant is received here again from the government, okay, but the nature of grant is what? The nature of grant is something which is similar to a capital contribution. Now, what is a capital contribution? Say, for example, if you talk about a company, in a company, shareholder will invest their money. Yeah, so shareholder will induct the capital. Shareholders will induct the capital. So that is what you call as capital contribution. So if there is any fund which is received from the government which is similar to that type of arrangement, and that's why it is called as in the nature of promoter's contribution. Okay, which is in the nature of promoter's contribution. Then what do you do? Then the accounting requirement is very simple. Take it to capital reserve. So what is going to be the accounting entry? Bank debit to capital reserve. So where do you show it in the P&L? Nowhere. This capital reserve will go to reserve and surplus. Do we amortize this? No. Capital reserve we understand is a restricted reserve. Okay. So it's a restricted reserve which can be utilized for very limited purposes. Yeah. So that's why it will not be amortized. It will stay as it is. That's it. As simple as that. Okay. Now what we will do is to get some clarity on this. Okay, and we can say to understand about this nature, because this nature is important to be understood. We'll just try to look at some examples. So it says where the government grants are in the nature of promoter's contribution, they are given with reference to total investment in an undertaking or by way of contribution towards its total capital outlay. For example, Central Investment Subsidy Scheme. And no repayment is ordinarily expected. It has come, right? So let's look at this example now. Top and Top Limited has set up its business in a designated backward area, which entitles the company to receive from the Government of India a subsidy of 20% of the cost of investment, for which no repayment was ordinarily expected. Okay. Moreover, there was no condition that the company should purchase any specific assets for this subsidy. So one can always think that if there is a grant which is in relation to any sort of cost of investment, okay, so maybe the entity is required to set up some infrastructure. Okay, that's what you call as investment cost also. but it's been clarified that there's no such condition. So can we say it's a grant related to asset? Tell me. Can we say it's a grant related to asset? Tell me. Answer is no. Very clearly a question is specified. In fact, in most of the cases, you can see a solution is partly given to you. Correct. Let's move further on this question. Having fulfilled all the conditions under the scheme, company on its investment on 50 crore in the capital assets received 10 crore from the government in January X2. Company wants to treat this receipt as income. Item of revenue means as income. Want to take it to P&L. So what will happen as a result of this? Losses will go down. So company want to record this as income. Keeping in view the relevant accounting standard, of course it's AS12, discuss whether the thought process of the company in this case, okay, to take it to income is correct or not. Over to you. What do you think? In this case, do you agree with what the company is thinking? How should this be accounted for? Over to you. Rohan says, I do not agree. Very good. So, what will be the accounting requirement? Let's suppose you disagree. Ash says, no, sir, it's not correct. Okay, it can't be taken to P&L. So, if you are saying it can't be taken to P&L, so that means, in a way, you are saying it's not a grant related to income. Yeah, so there are two types of grants. Grant related to asset, that question has clarified. It's not a grant related to asset. Grant related to income, you are saying no. Okay, so what are we left with? Only third one. Devu, Charandeep, they are saying, sir, it should be taken to capital reserve. I think Harsh has the same answer. Almaz is saying, sir, it should be taken to capital reserve. Why? Because it's a grant related to or in the nature of promoter's contribution. I think Rohan has just answered this, which is incorrect. It's not a grant related to assets. Please remember. It's clearly written in the question. Okay, it's clearly written in the question. Then how can you treat it as grant related to asset? Okay. Julie says, no, sir, as per AS12, it is transferred to capital reserve, and further, because capital reserve is restricted in nature, it will not be available for distribution. Of course. Yeah. I think Charandeep has explained this. All right. So now, in this case, where the government grants are of the nature of promoter's contribution, means they are given with reference to total investment, something which has also happened in this question, and wherein no repayment is ordinarily expected, something which is also specified in the question. What do you call those grants as? Grants in the nature of promoter's contribution. How do you treat them? Take it to capital reserve. In the given case, subsidy received is neither in relation to fixed asset, very clearly, nor in relation to revenue. Therefore, it will be inappropriate to recognize government grant in the P&L, something which the company is contemplating. Okay. The correct treatment will be what? To take it to capital reserve. Okay. So therefore, the accounting treatment as contemplated by the company is not correct. Okay. That's not correct. Everyone clear on this? Any questions, any doubts if you have? Everyone clear? Over to you. Yes, I think Rohan has a question. Yes, Rohan, what's your question?
Sir, in the first case, you told that
Sorry, in the
sir, in the uh, first monetary grant that we have learned that the grant related to the asset.
right.
Sir, that asset is fixed asset, and here it is capital asset, isn't it?
So what is the meaning of capital asset? How is it different from fixed asset? Can you tell me?
Sir, here it is written a capital asset in the question.
In the question, let me just go back to the question. Where is it written? It is related to capital asset.
Third,
Did
third
you
line,
read that? Third line.
page 9.10.
Okay, so it says there was no condition that the company should purchase any specific assets. Having fulfilled all the conditions, company on its investments of 50 crore in capital assets received 10 crore. Okay, so nowhere it is written it's a grant related to capital asset. See, what is a capital asset? Or what is a fixed asset? Or what is this PP? They are all capital assets only. The point is that when is this grant received? So this grant is received because the company has made some investment, okay, in capital asset. What is the meaning of that? So company has set up a factory, company has set up some infrastructure. Okay, that is the meaning of capital asset. Understood?
Okay,
Clear?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when the company has incurred that cost, when the company has spent that money, that is when the government has given the grant. Okay, but this grant is not given because the company is going to purchase any particular asset. Okay, and please understand that is capital asset only, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any more questions? Go on. Any more questions? Anyone else? Okay, so thanks, Chirandeep. I couldn't understand though really. All right. Anyone else? Quickly. No questions? Sure. All done. Yeah, everyone clear? All right. So then I think we can take a break now. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a break and after the break, let's continue on this. Yeah. Manish, I think we can take a break now. Right. So I can see one query from Anil. Anil, what's your query? Please, if you can just speak up. Yes, Anil. Can you please speak up? Can you please explain your query? Anil, if you are around, otherwise we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so let's pick up the next question. Okay. So now, how do you treat the following in the accounts in accordance with AS12? First, rupees 35 lakh received from the local authority for providing medical facilities to the employees. Over to you. I think it's a very simple one. Huh? How do you treat this? Quickly, over to you. Devu says it's a revenue grant. What about others? Rohan says revenue grant. Ishan says revenue grant. Okay. What about others? Quickly. Chirandeep says it's a revenue grant. Yes, anyone else? No? Okay, so now if you look at this 35 lakhs, which is received for providing the medical facilities, can we say it's related to asset? No. Does it appear to be the one in the nature of promoter's contribution? No. Clearly, it's the one which is related to expenses incurred. Yeah, so there are two ways it can be treated. First, it can be taken to other income, or instead of taking it to other income, it can be reduced from the related expense. And what is going to be that related expense? Again, it will be the employee cost. Okay. Then, what will be the accounting treatment of this second one? Rupees 100 lakhs received as subsidy from the central government for setting up unit in notified backward area. Subsidy is in the nature of promoter's contribution. So you can see one more question wherein the solution is given in the question itself. Yes or no? So tell me the accounting treatment. So what is going to be the accounting treatment? Over to you. Yes, quickly. Great. Ishan says take it to capital reserve. Devu says take it to capital reserve. What about others? Tell me. Priyanshi says it will be taken to capital reserve. I think same is the response from Pooja, Somya. Okay, then I think Harshda, Tanu, they have the same response. Great. Again, simple one. Okay. So wherever you have grant which is in the nature of promoter's contribution, so what do? You take it to capital reserve. Okay, so in this case, this amount of 100 lakhs should be credited to capital reserve. Right? Yeah, I'm just hoping everyone is clear. Yeah. Okay, great. Now, moving on to next concept. It talks about a refund of government grants. Now, what is the meaning of refund of government grant? How is this required to be treated? Let's talk about it. So once again, we'll go back to that working file. Okay, now. See, there are three types of grants we have discussed. Grant related to asset, wherein we followed gross basis and net basis, correct? And then we had this grant related. Now, let us first of all understand the concept of refund, and that's when we'll also get on to the accounting requirements. Sometimes the conditions which are attached to the grant may not get fulfilled. If you remember, we discussed that every grant will be conditional. Entity will have to comply with those conditions. But what if initially entity thought it will be able to comply with the conditions and thereby recorded the grant income, but later on the entity was not able to fulfill those conditions? So government will ask for the money back. Yes or no? Yeah. So government will say, please refund my money. Okay. So in that case, what do you do? That is what you call as refund of government. Yeah. So let's pick it up. Say for example, there was a grant related to asset. So initially, what did we do? When the grant was received, we were amortizing it year on year, right? At the end of first year, or you can say at the beginning of year 2, what is the balance of deferred income? Can you tell me? What is the balance of deferred income in this example? Over to you. In this example, can you tell me the balance of deferred income? Rohan says 38 crores. Yes, this was 38 crores, correct? So deferred income was 38 crores, right? So the standard says that whenever there will be a refund of government grant, so what is the accounting entry will pass? To bank. Okay, so that's what you will be required to do, to bank. What was the amount of grant? 40. Standard says first of all, it should be adjusted against the deferred income balance. So we'll make it 0. So debit the balance which is there in deferred income. And any differential amount which is there, take it to P&L. So balance amount will go to P&L. Okay. So in this case, what is going to be the P&L impact in case of refund? 2. That's how refund of government grant will be recorded in case the entity was following gross approach. Now, let's understand that in case entity was following net approach, was there any balance of deferred income? So in this case, when the government grant will be refunded, what will be the accounting entry? To bank, right? So it will be to bank 40. And what do you debit? So initially when the grant was received, asset was credited. So now you will increase the value of the asset. So we'll say plant debit 40. So in case it's a net approach, so what do? You will increase the value of the asset which was reduced earlier. Clear? Clear? Yeah. So in case any refund is there, you are following gross approach. So you will adjust it against deferred income. Balance amount will be taken to P&L. In case net approach is being followed, there is a refund. So you'll increase the value of the asset by the amount of refund. Now, let's suppose it was a grant related to income. Then what do? Here again, you will do the same thing. Okay, at the beginning of year 2. So year 2 beginning, if you look at, so what's the balance of deferred income? Can you tell me in this case, what is the balance of deferred income? Quickly, what is the balance of deferred income in this case? Charandeep says 33, right? So in this case, balance of deferred income is 33. Now, when the government grant will be refunded, so what is going to be the accounting entry to bank? Right? 50 lakhs. What do you debit? Standard says first of all, it should be adjusted against deferred income balance. That will be 33.33. Balance impact, where do you take it? P&L. Okay, so the balance impact here again will go to P&L. Clear? Clear on this? Yeah, clear? Okay, now let's suppose it was a grant related to or grant in the nature of promoters contribution. Let's suppose it was a grant in the nature of promoters contribution. So year one, when the grant was received, let's suppose grant amount was 20 lakhs. So what was the accounting entry? Bank debit 20 lakhs to capital reserve 20 lakhs. Let's suppose year two, there was no change. Will you be doing anything in year two? No, because capital reserve will remain as it is. Let's suppose year three, again, there is no change. Year four, now the grant is required to be refunded. Okay, so year four, there will be a refund of government grant. So in year four, what do you do? In year four, what do you do? Very simply, reverse the capital reserve. Standard says reverse the capital reserve. Okay. Right? I think Soumya, Tanu, Smriti, they have the same answer. So what is the accounting entry you'll pass in fourth year? Capital reserve debit by 20 lakhs to bank. 20 lakhs. Simple. Yes or no? Yeah. Clear? Any questions, any doubts if you have, please let me know. Then we'll move on to some questions. Okay, so we'll pick up some questions. For that, if you have any questions, any doubts, please let me know. Quickly, over to you. Yes, Pooja. Yes, Pooja. Please go ahead. Pooja, I understand you have a query. Yes, please go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Pooja.
Sir, I want to ask about if we have already used capital reserve in year 2 or 3, then
Right.
how we will reverse it? Can it be negative? So,
No, it will not be negative. Then you will take it to P&L. Okay, because it's not specified as to what do you do, but of course you can't debit the capital reserve. Okay, and you do not have any capital reserve, then you will have no choice but to take it to P&L. Okay,
that
but in
entry,
your question, such type of treatment will not be there. Yes, Pooja, please go ahead.
sir, I want to ask in this case, we have to do entry like P&L account debit to bank, right?
Yes.
And sir, can we refund half government grant?
No, so that is dependent on the conditions which are attached. If you have to refund half, you will pass the accounting entry for half. If you have to refund full, so that will again be dependent on the scheme.
And
What
sir,
is your
if,
arrangement?
yes, sir. Sir, if it would be half, then proportionately we will do entry, right, sir?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay,
So if
sir.
it is half, you debit capital reserve by half amount.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Then I think Harshda, your query is clear, but otherwise you can just pick up. Ishan, what is your query? Please pick up. Please explain. Harshda, Ishan. Yes, Ishan.
No, so the earlier doubt is cleared, but another doubt is there.
Yes.
In relation to capital asset, when we
Right.
get the grant and we reverse
Right.
it.
Right.
So we reverse the whole amount either by PNL or by deferred income.
Right.
So the depreciation will also change accordingly, you know.
Yes. So I'll come to that. So there will be some impact, some adjustment related to depreciation that I have not discussed with you. I'll come to that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Then I understand, Harshda, you have a query? Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Harshda.
So that query got resolved about the partial refund.
Right.
But the concern is the balance amount will be adjusted in the P&L account, right? It will debit capital reserve for 50% and balance 50% will be adjusted in the P&L, right?
So what is the meaning of balance portion? You are not clear. What is the meaning of balance
got it.
portion?
No, got it.
Clear on this?
50%, right.
No, so do you have a question or you are clear on this?
No, clear, sir.
Clear.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Then I understand, Tanu, you have a query? Yes, Tanu? Yes, Tanu, please go ahead. Yes, Tanu?
सर मेरा डाउट भी यही है कि हम अगर कैपिटल एसेट्स के केस में हमें जब गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट मिलता है तो हम फुल अमाउंट को ही डिडक्ट करते हैं, उसमें से डेप्रिसिएशन क्यों नहीं डिडक्ट करते हैं?
No, so because at the beginning itself, when you have received the amount, so how can you deduct depreciation? Yes or no? So initially, when you purchase the plant, okay,
Okay,
its
sir.
value was what, 100 lakhs?
Yes, sir.
And that is the time when you received the grant. So do you have any depreciation on day one? No. So that's why
No,
you
sir.
didn't adjust depreciation. Okay?
Yes, sir. सर बट हम लोग गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट को तो रिवर्स कर रहे हैं 4 इयर्स बैक या फिर 5 इयर्स बैक, तो फिर तब तो डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज होना चाहिए ना?
Yes, you are absolutely right. On the portion with which you will increase the value of the asset, depreciation will have to be adjusted. But I have not discussed that point with you as yet. I'll discuss that. Okay. In the
Okay, sir.
questions that we pick up, I'll discuss that adjustment, and that is when you will get the clarity. What type of adjustment will that be?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sure. Anyone else? No? Okay, so let's pick up some questions now. I think the questions you'll get more clarity. Okay, so if you pick up this question number 7, Z Limited purchased fixed assets for fixed land. There's a life of 5 years, salvage value of 5 lakhs. On purchase of the asset, government gave a grant of 10 lakhs. So this was reduced from the cost of the asset. Okay. Grant was considered as refundable in second year to the extent of 7 lakh. So the entire grant is not refunded. Only 7 lakh is refunded. I think wherein you are asking what if the partial is there. So partial you will adjust. So what do? You will increase the value of fixed asset by 7 lakh. Okay. Now, here again, I think some of your doubts related to depreciation adjustment are not clear. So let's move further. Let's look at the next question. A fixed asset is purchased for 20 lakhs. Grant received towards this fixed asset was 8 lakhs. Okay. Residual value of the fixed asset was 4 lakh. Its life is 4 years. Can you tell me the amount of depreciation you will have? Can you tell me the amount of depreciation you will have? Over to you quickly. Ishan says 2 lakhs. So your residual value is 4 lakh. Useful life is 4 years. Okay. Now, because the grant is received, so you don't know as to how that has been adjusted. So what is going to be the amount of depreciation? 4 lakhs. Why are you reducing it from the value of the asset? We have not yet discussed. Okay, now, asset is shown in the balance sheet net of grant. Now you can say it's 2 lakh. Okay, let's go part by part. On the asset, depreciation should have been 4 lakh each year. But because of the recording of grant on a net basis, what did we do? We charge the depreciation equivalent to 2 lakh each year. After the first year, grant becomes refundable to the extent of 5 lakh. Why? Due to non-compliance of certain conditions. You are required to pass the entries for 2 years. So let's look at this. Okay. So first of all, when the fixed asset is purchased, what do? Fixed asset debit to bank 20 lakhs. Then the grant is received 8 lakhs. So bank debit to fixed asset 8 lakhs. Now what is the value of fixed asset? 12 lakh. And there's a residual value 4 lakh. So that means each year depreciation will be 2 lakh. So depreciation entry is also passed in the first year. Depreciation 2 lakh to fixed asset 2 lakh. And this depreciation is also transferred to P&L. Okay. All good so far? Right? Now, let's move on to second year. Now, second year is the year when the grant is required to be refunded. Okay. We understand the grant is required to be refunded by 5 lakh. Okay. Now, in this case, one small calculation will be required. Now, what is that? We need to find out what is going to be the depreciation amount if you increase the value of the asset. So the cost of the asset is 20, from which when you reduce the grant, it became 12. Okay, and you charge the depreciation by 2, so it became 10. Now, when the grant is refunded by 5 lakh, so what will you do? What will you do? You will increase the value of the asset. So to this 10 lakh, you will add 5 lakh. To this 10 lakh, you will add the value of 5 lakh, 15 lakh. Okay. Now, residual value doesn't change. So therefore, what is the remaining useful life? 3 years. What is the remaining useful life? 3 years. So 15 less 4 divided by 3. So this is going to be your revised depreciation amount. Correct? This is going to be your revised depreciation amount that you'll have to charge starting from year 2. So that's why in year 2, first of all, you increase the value of asset by 5. Then you pass the depreciation entry, not by 2 lakh, but by 3.67. Okay, and the same amount you'll also transfer to P&L. Clear? Everyone clear on this? Over to you. Everyone clear? Yeah. All right. So let's pick up the next question. On 1st April X1, ABC received government grant of 300 lakhs. This was for acquisition of machinery of 1500 lakhs. Grant was credited to cost of the asset, means reduce the value of the asset. Life of the machine is 5 years. Machine is depreciated at 20% on WDV basis. Company had to refund the grant in May X4. So X1, X2, X2, X3, X3, X4. In the 4th year, X4, X5, the grant is getting refunded, right? How would you deal with the refund of grant in the books of ABC? Assuming company did not charge any depreciation for X4. Okay. So in this case, for the last financial year, I think X4, X5, you need to ignore the depreciation amount. Correct. So let's discuss this as to how will you deal with this. When the grant is received, so the company will reduce the value of the asset. So it will become 1200 lakhs. From 1500, you will deduct 300. So it will become 1200. Correct? Now, this 1200 will be depreciated. So what do you have? 240. So at the end of first year, you have 960. 960 again you depreciate, you get 190. Then 768 again you depreciate, you get 640. So that is where you get the refund. So if you get the refund, you increase the value by 300. Okay. Now on a go forward basis, what will you do? 914.40 will be depreciated at the 20% using WDV method. Right? Using WDV method. Clear? Yeah. So it's very much on the same principles that we have discussed so far. Now, moving further. A Limited purchased a machine for 40 lakhs. Its useful life was 4 years. Residual value was 8 lakhs. Government grant received is 16 lakhs. You are required to show the journal entry to be passed at the time of refund in 3rd year. In 3rd year. And also the value of the asset if grant is credited to fixed asset. Number 1. Grant is credited to deferred grant. Okay. In both the cases, you are required to show this. Right? So let's look at this one by one. Right? In case the grant is credited to fixed asset, so what do? Reduce the value of the asset. Right? So what is going to be the revised value of asset? 40 minus 16. 40 minus 16. Yes. So what is the revised value of the asset? Can you tell me? Chirandeep says 24. Very good. And this 24 you need to depreciate over 4 years. Correct? Now what is going to be the balance of fixed asset after 2 years? So after 2 years, so every year, what is the depreciation you will charge? 6 lakhs? 6 lakhs? So from 24, after depreciation, so what do you do? Tell me, what do you do? So from 24, what do you have? Okay, so tell me quickly. So the balance of the fixed asset after 2 years depreciation will be 16 lakhs. So I think we can get on to the working note to get some more clarity. So initially the fixed asset is recorded at 24, right? Then I think there is also a residual value. I think I ignored the residual value. So if you deduct the residual value, every year, what is the depreciation charge you will get? 4 lakh, right? Therefore, over a period of 2 years, what is the amount of depreciation you will charge? 8 lakhs, right? So after 2 years, what will happen? Balance will become 16 lakhs, right? So now, to this balance of 16 lakhs, we need to find out what is the amount of refund. So the refund is 16 lakhs. So therefore, to this balance of 16, what do? You will add another 16. So what does it become? 32 lakhs. Okay. Now 32 lakhs has a remaining useful life of 2 years, but the residual value is unchanged. So therefore, on a go forward basis, what is going to be the amount of depreciation? 32 less residual value divided by remaining useful life. So that means 12 lakhs per annum. 12 lakhs per annum. Right? Everyone clear? Everyone clear? Any questions so far? Okay, on this first part, if you have any questions, please let me know. Any questions so far on the first part? No? Everyone clear? Yeah, everyone clear? Okay, great. Now let's move on to the second part. Second part says, if the grant was credited to deferred income, then I think accounting will be even simpler. Now, we do not have the reduced value of fixed asset. So do we need to make any adjustment on fixed asset? No. Do we need to make any adjustment for depreciation calculation? No. Because fixed asset balance is unchanged. Yes or no? That balance is unchanged. We did not change that at all. Right? So only thing which now needs to be looked into is what? Balance of deferred income. Correct? So that's the balance that we need to look into. So now, what was the amount of government grant? 16 lakhs. Okay. This 16 lakhs would have been recorded by the entity as a deferred income, and year on year there would have been one amortization on this. Correct? So if you amortize this, what is the period you will choose for amortization? Can you tell me what is the period you will choose for amortization? Charandeep says 4 years. Right? Okay, now, over 4 years, when you amortize this, so that means 8 lakhs would have been amortized. This would have been recorded as income. After 2 years, balance of deferred grant would have been 8 lakhs. Correct? After 2 years, balance of grant would have been 8 lakhs. Right? So therefore, in the third year, what do? when you will refund the government grant? Can you tell me the accounting entry you will pass? Over to you quickly. Who will answer this? What is the accounting entry with the amount which you will pass in the third year? Yes, Rohan, please go ahead. Yes, Rohan, please go ahead. Yes, Rohan.
Sir, deferred tax income debit
No, there's
balance.
no deferred tax, deferred income.
Sorry, deferred income government grant debit.
Yes.
The balance amount, that is 8 lakh.
Okay.
Then P&L account debit.
Okay.
And then 2 bank account refund.
Okay. Okay,
Refund will be of whole 16 lakh, and the
right.
balancing figure of 8 lakh will go to P&L account.
Very good. So now, when you refund this, what do you have? You have a deferred income balance. So the standard says make it 0. So you'll transfer entire balance to this deferred income, right? 8 lakhs. What is the amount you have to refund? 16. So the balance goes to P&L, 8 lakhs. Clear on this? Yeah. In this case, do we have any impact of the depreciation? Not at all. That remains unchanged. Clear? There's no impact of the depreciation. Everyone clear? Any questions, any doubts if you have, please let me know. Clear? All right. So let's quickly look at one more question. Company X runs a charitable hospital. It incurs salary of doctors, staff, 30 lakhs. As a support, local government has given a lump sum payment of 90 lakhs to meet the salary expense for next 5 years. At the start of 4th year, okay, Company X is unable to meet the conditions attached to the grant, and therefore it is required to refund the entire grant of 90 lakhs. You are required to pass the necessary journal entries in the books of the company for the refund of grant if the grant was shown separately as other income. Over to you. So can you tell me what do we do in this case? So how do you record this refund of government grant? Quickly. How do you record this refund of government grant? Over to you. Yes, tell me quickly. How do you record this? Okay, great. Chirandeep says same as previous question. Okay, but what is that same? Rohan says reverse the entry. No, but how do you reverse? Tell me, please explain properly. So in this case, when you record the government grant, it will go to deferred income balance. Yes or no? Which you will amortize over 5 years. Correct? So we need to find out what is going to be the balance of this deferred income after 3 years. So every year, what do you amortize? 18 lakhs. How do you get 18 lakhs? 90 lakhs divided by 5. Yes or no? 90 lakhs divided by 5. So after 3 years, what is going to be the balance of deferred income? 90 lakhs less 18 lakhs into 3, 36 lakhs. Okay, so now when we have to refund the government grant, what do we do? We'll say to bank 90 lakhs. Okay. Now where should this be adjusted first? standard says any deferred income balance that you have, make it zero first of all. So we'll take the impact to deferred income balance first of all. And the balance impact will go to P&L. So this is going to be your balancing figure. Okay. So the balance impact goes to P&L. That is 54 lakhs. All right. All right. Everyone? Yeah, clear on this? Everyone clear? Okay, then I think Pooja has also shared the accounting entry. Very good. Soumya. I think Rohan has a question. Soumya is clear. Yes, Rohan, please go ahead. Tanu is also clear. Great. Yes, Rohan, what's your query?
Sir, this grant is not the grant related to asset, na?
Correct.
So why we are opening the deferred grant account?
So I think you have missed the complete session. It appears to be like that.
No,
Okay,
sir.
let me just go back to the accounting that we discussed for revenue related grant. So in case of revenue related grant, what was the accounting requirement?
Sir,
We discussed that first of all, when you receive the grant, okay, so you'll take it to deferred income. Remember?
Oh yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now same is the treatment we have considered here. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping you're here today. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Anyone else? Any more questions that you have? Anyone else? Any more questions? Quickly. Any more questions? No? Sure. Everyone clear? All right. So then what we can do is we can just close our discussion for AS12 over here. Okay. We are through with this. Yeah. And of course, in the next session, you are starting a new topic. But I understand you have some queries, okay, related to the discussion that we have had today, and of course, any other topics. So what we can do is we can just spend some time on those queries, right? So I think we can just pick up your queries one by one. Okay, yeah. So I can see Ishan coming up with query. Asta has got queries. Great. So let's start. Yes, Ishan, please go ahead. What's your query?
Sir, I have a query in construction contracts. In the
Okay.
module, in the module, there is a question.
So do you want me to open the module or you want to discuss it without the module?
Yes, because sir, it's a case study type, so you have to open.
Okay. So let me just open the document. Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
So which page is that?
8.26.
8.26. Okay, so I am on 8.26 and let me just present this over here. Just a minute. I think everybody can then understand. Yes.
So I was able to do first and third part, but the second part I was not able to do. So
Okay,
could you
so what's
explain?
your query?
I have a query in second part. How it came
Second
to
part.
38 lakhs? Because the cost incurred is 30 lakhs in the
Right.
31st March.
So let me just read this quickly for you.
Yes.
So we have this company XY which agrees to construct a building on behalf of its clients. So one of the clients is GH on 1st April X1. Okay. Expected completion time is 3 years. XY incurred a cost of 30 lakhs up to 31st March X2. So 30 lakhs is the actual cost. Fine. it is expected that additional cost of 90 lakh will be incurred. So all in all, total cost is
120.
120. Okay, total contract value is 112. So it's a loss making contract. As at 31st March X2, XY has billed GH for 42 as per the agreement. So that's the progress billing. Assume that work is completed to the extent of 75% by the end of year 2. Okay, so now in this case, what is the total expense to be recognized in year 1? So what is the confusion? I couldn't understand.
Sir, how they came to 38 lakh? My question is that because
Okay,
the incurred cost is 30 lakhs, no, in the first.
okay, no worries. And let me just explain this to you. So Ishan, if you look at the total contract value,
Yes, sir.
okay, so total revenue was what?
112 lakhs.
112, and total cost was
120.
120. So there is a loss
Yes, sir.
of 8 lakhs.
8
So
lakhs.
this loss you book in the first year itself,
Yes, sir.
correct? Now in the first year, what is your actual cost?
30 lakhs.
30 you will recognize plus provision for loss
Okay, sir.
8 lakhs. So what do you get?
38. Okay,
38.
sir. Yes, sir. Got
Okay.
it.
Right. Then I understand. Ishan, you're through. Then I understand Astha has got some queries. Yes, Astha. Yes, Astha, please go ahead. What's your query?
Sir, can you give some example where the final outcome is not estimated reliably, but there is loss also?
There's loss also. So what sort of example you are looking at? I think there's one question in the study material itself wherein the final outcome is not estimated reliably. Okay, but if you want to bring in a loss, so we can just continue with the same example that we just discussed. Okay, so in the same example, if you look at this contract is a loss making contract. Okay, yeah. Asta, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's a loss making contract. Now, if let's suppose in first year, outcome of the contract is not the one which you can just say with reliability. Okay, so what is the cost that you have? You have this cost of 30. So what do?
Yes.
You will restrict your revenue to 30. Okay, so that's what you will do. Simple. Clear?
सर लॉस को माइनस नहीं करेंगे
कहाँ से?
रेवेन्यू जो हमने रिकॉर्ड करना है फ्रॉम टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ कॉस्ट
So why do you need to reduce it? I can't understand. So if you look at your P&L, okay, so you'll present your numbers in the P&L. So in your P&L, in the first year, what do you have? 30 lakhs and your cost is 30 lakhs. So that's how you present your P&L. It's zero. Okay. On the top of it, you also have one other cost. Okay. What is that other cost? That's the cost in relation to the loss to be incurred. So that is what you will call as your provision for loss. So what is the meaning of reduction of any sort of revenue from the loss? Why do you do that? Clear?
सर क्लियर Sir, in the book it is written that the uncertainties when it ceases to exist, we will recognize by percentage completion method.
That's correct.
Sir, we cannot do it backdated now.
We can't do it backdated, of course. Going forward, you will calculate the percentage, and on the basis of percentage, you will do that. So it's not asking you to do that retrospectively. It is saying prospectively you will do that. Let's suppose in the first year you were to recognize revenue of 40. So you restricted that to 30. Let's suppose second year you are required to recognize 60. So now in the second year, what will you do? Because you recognize 30, so you will recognize additional 30 in the second year. Okay, so instead of 40-20, you will pick up 30-30. Eventually, you have to reach this number. Clear?
Sir, how 30?
How 30 means?
Sir, why 30 is only recorded?
No, so 30 is the one which we looked at in this example. Huh? And there's no calculation. There's only an example I am giving you.
Sir, means total is 60, but we have to make it 60, so we are adding 30 also.
Right.
Okay,
in
sir.
the next year, when the uncertainty is removed.
Only 30.
Obviously, only 30, because 30 when you have already recognized. So, what is the balance amount you will recognize? You tell me.
30, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Anything
I have
else?
tried AS 11 for
Yes,
an
tell me.
operation.
Yeah. Please go ahead. What's your query?
Sir, in the study mat, if you can open that.
Study material. Just a minute. Which standard you are saying?
For an operation, sir.
Just a minute. All right. I'm on this standard. Tell me.
Sir, page number 7.36.
7.36. So I'll just share that. Huh? Just a minute. Yes, Asta. Tell me. Yes.
Sir, point number G.
Okay. So what is your query?
Sir, point number G, I couldn't understand it.
Okay. So it talks about non-integral foreign operations, which is something similar to a foreign subsidiary that you have. Okay. Wherein you are required to translate that foreign subsidiary. So let's suppose there's a company, say in Germany. Okay. You'll move it from its local currency to INR. So it says incorporation of financial statements of non-integral foreign operation in those of the reporting enterprise means in INR follows normal consolidation procedures. So when you consolidate that, so let's suppose there's a subsidiary in Germany, when you consolidate that in Indian company is the holding company. So have you covered consolidation?
No, sir.
I think that's where the doubt lies. I would request that please make a note on this, refer AS 21 along with this. So that marking you can do, but in the meantime, I'll just explain you. Okay, so when you consolidate, so it says similar sort of consolidation procedures you will follow as per AS 21, wherein you will eliminate intra-group balances, intra-group transactions. However, any exchange difference which is arising on intra-group monetary item, whether short-term or long-term, cannot be eliminated against a corresponding amount on such intra-group balances because monetary item represents a commitment to convert one currency to another and exposes the reporting entity to gain or loss. So it says when you eliminate that, if you remember, there was a branch. If you remember, there was a translation that we did wherein there was a branch. Remember, Asta? One
Yes, sir.
question that we computed. Okay. And in such a case, there were some balances which were between the branch and the head office. So what did we do? We didn't look at the conversion impact. We looked at the balance which was taken up by the head office, and that's how we eliminated. Remember?
Yes, sir.
So the same thing is being conveyed over here. Okay.
So only monetary items.
Yeah, of course, monetary items only.
Sir, why not non-monetary?
See, because for non-monetary, any of the adjustment impact would have already been taken up by the holding and the subsidiary as well. And anyways, when you pick up this non-monetary items, okay, in such cases, in case of non-monetary items, the impact which is there, some of that impact would have also gone on to the P&L through the form of depreciation or maybe some other items as well. So that's why you do this. Okay, this is generally for a long period of time. Monetary is something which gets settled every now and then.
Because of which we are not doing that.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, K
Okay,
point is also there.
K point on the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. So it says an entity may dispose of its interest in non-integral operation through sale. So it's about disposing it off. So payment of dividend form parts of disposal only when it constitutes a return on investment. The remittance from non-integral foreign operation by way of repatriation of accumulated profit does not form part of disposal unless it constitutes the return of investment. In case of partial disposal, only the proportionate share of related accumulated exchange difference is included in the gain or loss. A write down of carrying amount of non-integral foreign operation does not constitute a partial disposal. Accordingly, no part of deferred foreign exchange. See, it is talking about the disposal. So when you dispose of any sort of foreign operation, so what is the accounting treatment that you'll do? Of course, you will recognize the gain or loss. You'll also stop the consolidation in that case. If there is any sort of payment which will be paid by, let's suppose there's a subsidiary, whether that subsidiary has paid any dividend or not. So that is the thing you'll look at. If the subsidiary has already declared a dividend, so it says that should form part of your disposal only. Okay, and that will be forming part of your return on investment, because when you are selling it off, I would say, have you covered this accounting standard on investments?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you remember that there are two types of investments that you have, ex dividend, cum dividend.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when you have this cum dividend, what do? Do you adjust that with the cost of investment?
Yes, sir.
So same point is over here. Yeah, so only aspect, see, in all of these points, I think, which you are discussing with me, so these are in respect of the accounting treatment that you have for any other transaction which will be in the same currency. So over here, the standard is clarifying, if let's suppose that maybe that sort of transaction is taking place between a subsidiary company which is preparing its financial statements, say in any other currency. So how do you convert that? Okay, so that's the only difference. Otherwise, there's no difference. Clear?
Sir, here it is written that payment of dividend will form part of disposal only. Sir, the
Right.
accumulated foreign exchange, the differences will also be taken.
No, so what is the meaning of accumulated foreign exchange differences?
Sir, in the last fifth line, it is written that related accumulated exchange differences is included.
No, so see, when you look at the accounting requirements, there is a reserve that we create. If you remember, FCTR.
Yes, sir.
Remember FCTR, foreign currency translation reserve. So what do? Let's suppose you have a subsidiary. Now you lose control. Why? Because you have sold the subsidiary. So will you be doing the consolidation anymore? No. So any of that reserve which you would have created, what was the reason for that? Because you were consolidating that, and for consolidation purposes, you were translating that from foreign currency to INR. If you stop doing that, what will you do with that? That entire FCTR you will release. That will go to your reserves and surplus. Okay, so that's how you will treat it.
Whether it is full disposal or partial disposal.
So important point is whether you have lost control or not. It's not about full or partial. Whether you have lost control or not. That's
Sir,
how
if
you
we
have
have
to take it.
lost control, but it is a partial disposal only.
No, so if it's a partial disposal, so you let it remain. You don't change it.
Not done proportionately.
Yes.
Okay,
Because
sir.
your
Sir,
control
in the
continues.
last,
Yes.
sir, in the last example that you have given in that time, foreign exchange PPE was being at translation reserve date. So why not at closing rate?
See, that is what I told you, that we need to just, look at that internally, because it should have been done at the closing rate itself. Yeah. And I've passed on this message to the concerned team. They will come back on this. I think they will have to look into it as to, what adjustment needs to be done on that. Okay.
Okay. Sir, at page number 7.33, some dates are given.
Say of the same chapter?
Yes, sir. 7.33.
7.33. Okay. What dates?
Beyond 31st March
That you
2020.
can ignore. That you can ignore. That is not relevant for you.
Okay, sir.
What else?
Sir, employee benefits reimbursement rights.
Yeah, so I think that was one of your queries, right? So I think for that, what you should do is I've just made a note of this point. I would suggest you please look at accounting standard 15, okay, and go through para 103. You can make a note of this point, Asta. Para
Okay, sir.
103 of accounting standard 15. Yeah, so that will give you the clarity around that reimbursement right. As of now, just to clarify on that reimbursement right, okay, so it's something which is in the nature of reimbursement. Okay, so for example, you have incurred some expenditure, but you understand that this expenditure you will recover from another party. For example, let's suppose you go to office, okay, and you are spending on your conveyance expenses. So at the month end, what do? You ask for the reimbursement.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so is that your expenditure? No. So what do? You call it as your asset, because against this amount that you have spent, you are recording a receivable. That is what you call as reimbursement right. Clear?
Okay, sir.
What else?
Sir, one doubt is there interest paid to NBFC accounted in books on accrual basis but paid on 30th June and the reporting year is 22-23. Sir, why it is not a timing difference?
Oh, I couldn't understand. Can you please explain?
So the point given is interest paid to NBFC accounted in books on accrual basis but paid
Interest
on
paid to, just a minute, interest so you're saying a company has, so you need to give me the background. You start jumping on the query. I don't understand each and everything. So I've got very, very limited understanding about all of these materials that you are going through. So you need to make me understand. So is it an entity who has paid some interest to the NBFC? Is it?
Yes, sir. These are just point givens, and we are just have to look at whether it is a timing difference or not, and what will be its effect.
Okay, very good. So you're saying interest is paid to NBFC. Fine. What is the amount?
6 lakhs, sir.
Okay, 6 lakhs. Okay. Then
Accounted in the books on accrual basis, but paid on 30th June 2023.
right.
Sir, whether it is a timing difference?
So if you look at this 21-22.
Sir, 22-23, the reporting year is.
No, so you're saying it's paid in 22, paid in June. Okay. So it's paid in June 23, you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Now, so if you ask me, it doesn't appear to be a timing difference to me. Why? Because in 22-23, if you look at this company, so the company has recorded the expense, correct?
Yes, sir.
At the same time, if you look at the NBFC would also have recorded that as income. Okay. Further, if you ask about the income tax, I think income tax will allow the expense on accrual basis. That's my limited understanding of income tax. But again, if there is any provision in the income tax which doesn't allow tax payment, interest payment or interest expense on an accrual basis, that is when it will become a timing difference, otherwise not.
Okay, sir. So we have to look at it income tax.
Of course, see, timing difference or this deferred tax, this entire aspect will have to be looked at after considering the requirements of income tax. Without that, you can't do that. Okay, so you have to compare two things. What is the requirement of accounting? What is the requirement of income tax? That's how you do this.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure. All right. Anyone else? Any more questions if you have? I understand Ishan has a query. Yes, Ishan.
Sir, the question that you told before this, that is that I asked, 30 lakh one. In that, if it cannot be measured reliably, you said we have to record at 30 only. That is the cost. Revenue also 30.
Correct.
But if the revenue, if we calculate by proportionate method, if it comes lower than 30, then we will record at lower than 30.
Of course.
Yes, sir, that was.
Okay, great. All right. So I think those who do not have any query, they can just feel free to move up. Okay, so thanks everyone for your time and for this wonderful participation once again. But we'll just continue up, maybe some more time with your doubts. I understand Prem has a query now. Yes, Prem.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
Good morning, Prem.
सर मेरा सर कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉन्ट्रैक्टर TYK में प्रॉब्लम है सर, MCQs वाले में.
Okay, what's your query?
सर क्वेश्चन 2 में तो मतलब सर प्रोविजन और कॉस्ट को दोनों एक्सपेंस ले लिया गया है.
No, Prem, please understand. All of these questions are not on my tips. मैं कोई याद करके थोड़ा ना बैठा हूँ सब क्वेश्चंस को. You need to give me the question first of all. Okay, explain me the question and then I'll be able to answer.
So you can open the book,
So
page
do we need to get
8.26.
onto the module?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Okay, what page is that?
8.26 and 27.
Just a minute. 8.26. I think that's the same one that we just looked at. So I'll just share that over here. Huh? I think this is the one you are referring to. Huh? Yes, Prem.
Yes, sir.
Is this the one you are referring to? Yes.
Yes, sir. सर इसमें हम लोग टोटल एक्सपेंस में कॉस्ट जो इनकर हुआ है और जो प्रोविजन है उन दोनों को मिला के टोटल एक्सपेंस लिया, राइट?
राइट.
सर उसके अगले क्वेश्चन 5th वाले में हम लोग का प्रोविजन बनता है 40 का.
Just
और
a minute. Just again, please hold on. Let me read the question. So how can I answer? Just a minute.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So this 5th question, before that, do we have any further fact pattern? So I think
Yes,
some fact pattern is different. So let me just read this. AV has presented the information for contract number this. So the contract value is different. Certified work completed is this. Cost incurred till date is 360. Progress payment is this. Expected future cost to be incurred is 50. Revenue to be recognized based on the certified work completed. Now, what is your query, Hanji? Ab batao, please.
सर इसमें सर 40 लाख का सर प्रोविजन भी बनेगा ना सर, क्योंकि सर 10 लाख तो अपना.
Just a minute. Again, let's check. So the contract value is 370.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is the total cost? So it says certified work completed, cost incurred to date 360. Okay, cost incurred to date is 360, out of which 320 is certified, and the future cost is 50. So 410 seems to be the total cost, correct?
Yes, sir.
So against 410, what do you have? 370. So 40 lakhs seems to be the loss.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, it will be created as a provision.
Yes, it should be created as a provision. That's correct. 40.
So सर इसमें सर जो 5th क्वेश्चन में सर 360 लिया गया टोटल एक्सपेंस, 400 नहीं लिया गया.
360 if they, so there could be a reason for that. See, they are saying that you need to recognize revenue based on certified work. Okay, only the certified work you need to consider. So what is your certified work completed? 320. Okay. So you are not taking the total cost, you are taking only the certified work cost plus the loss, which could be 40. So that could be the reason. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What else?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Sir, nothing, sir.
Okay, great. Then I understand you're through. Okay. So, okay, Asta has a query. Yes, Asta.
Sir, I have doubt in AS contract revenue. Sir, in illustration number 2 that we are covered, incentive for early completion is being taken because it is less than the 2 years and 10 months.
Okay.
But sir, there are given 2 dates that at the start of the contract, AB has a reason to believe that construction will be completed in 2 years and 8 months.
Correct.
And we are assuming that the construction was actually completed in 2 years and 9 months. Sir,
Right.
Sir, which date is to be taken? 2 years, 8 months or 2 years, 9 months?
How is it relevant?
Sir, if it is believing that 2 years, 11 months the construction will be completed and actually it was completed on 2 years, 9 months. So, sir,
No,
we will.
so when is the incentive payable? When is the incentive payable?
When we complete the contract.
No, so it's not about when you complete the contract. So what is the condition for the incentive?
Condition is that the complete the construction in less than 2 years and 10 months, it will be entitled
Okay,
additional.
so tell me one thing in that particular question. Was the construction completed before 2 years and 10 months or not?
Yes, sir. Actual completion we have to take.
Of course. Okay.
Okay. Not an estimation.
Estimation is something they will initially do, but you will do the accounting on actual basis as far as revenue is concerned.
Okay, sir. Sir, as you told us, items of PPE will also be at closing rate, but in the MCQ also that will not been ticked up.
No, so there again, you need to find out whether that is integral or non-integral. I
Sir,
think
not mention anything.
So then maybe it's an assumption. It's something which is integral.
But in sir, how we can make an assumption?
That's where you are absolutely right. So again, I'll make a note of this point. Can you please specify the question?
Sir, question number 5th MCQ.
Question number 5th MCQ. So let me just pass it on. Okay, so I can just convey to them that this is what the queries you are facing. Question number 5 of, you're saying AS11, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, first
MCQ.
that.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just pass it on to the concerned team for them to look into. So they should build some assumption over there, I think that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right?
Sir.
Sure. All right, then I think we can just close our discussion. Okay, thanks everyone once again for your time and for this wonderful participation. Yeah. Manish, we can close this now. Done.